This
from India.
conference will now be recorded.
Thank you, organizer. So since we have everyone from India, can we have session in the morning? Does it work with everyone? Or can we have session at the same time like how we are having now? Which is feasible?
I'm fine. I'm fine anytime, but yeah, let's check with other team.
Oh, that's great. Okay, sorry to waste. Sorry. So please think and let me know the time at the end of the session, guys. Okay, please think about it. Okay, let's continue. Since it's recording. In Workday compensation, we have two types. One is core compensation, another one is advanced compensation. Okay, core and advanced compensation. So core compensation is mandatory and it's coming along with the core HCM, and it's one of the mandatory module or chapter in core HR. Okay, advanced compensation up to customer requirement. If any customer wants advanced compensation, they have to pay or they have to subscribe this module additionally from Workday. In which scenarios they will choose advanced module, we will discuss in today's session. In core compensation, I am saying it's mandatory because it has a dependency on several modules. Okay, it has a dependency on several modules. If you're not configure core compensation Workday, you cannot configure those modules as well. What are those modules? Okay, first let's see impact of core compensation on other modules. Okay, impact on core compensation, other modules, or compensation requirement or prerequisite for other modules. Here, can one guess what are all modules required compensation data? Any guess?
The first
What
payroll.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Payroll and benefits.
Payroll and benefit has dependency on the core compensation. Absolutely. Okay. So let me list out. We have dependency on the payroll. We have dependency on the compensation. Benefit and
Job.
sorry, what's that?
I said job management.
Staffing, of course, no. Core HR has a dependency. Since core compensation is part of core HR, we will exclude core HR. Okay, we'll talk about advanced mode. Of course, what you said is correct. We have dependency for staffing as well, but that also falls into core HR, no? So recruitment.
Yeah, recruitment also.
And performance. Okay. Now, can you give one example how it is impacting payroll? Compensation, how it is impacting payroll? One example. Can I like to try?
Salary.
Exactly. Salary, allowances, everything after tax, we will process the compensation, net amount, right? What is the source? For example, in the pay slip, we have a base pay, 25,000, base pay, 5,000 US dollars. From where the base pay is coming? From the compensation. Car allowance, $1,000. From where that amount is coming? Compensation. Benefits. Can anyone give me one example on benefits? How benefits required?
Again payroll, Kiran, just quickly repeat that sentence.
Definitely. So we have car allowances, mobile allowances, uniform allowances, could be one-time payment. In compensation, once we will give the gross amount, correct? In compensation, 10,000 US dollars. Let's say an employee is getting 10,000 US dollars as a salary. That we will define in the compensation. Payroll is required the compensation data to process what is the gross, what are the taxes impacted, what is the net amount. It has to process by the payroll system, correct? So payroll required the compensation data to calculate and process the net amount. Can you tell me one example how come benefit required compensation data?
Benefit is something like parental policy, mediclaim policy.
Insurances. The calculations based, yeah, insurances.
For example,
Insurance and all, yeah. Life, medical insurance.
Exactly. let's say we have a short-term disability, long-term disability, LTD, STD, we will say. If any unforeseen things happen to an employee, company will protect that employee family. Let's take this. Okay, let's see this requirement, life insurance. A company wants to offer life insurance to an employee, life insurance coverage to an employee based on the employee base pay, something like this. Base pay multiply by 5 times. Base pay is coming from compensation, correct? Salary is coming from compensation. The calculation 5 times, 10 times, 8 times, you have to configure in the benefit module. So the input is coming from core compensation. Base pay is coming from core compensation. So an employee base pay, let's say 10,000 US dollars, for an example, okay, per month, or let's say per annum. 5 times employee is eligible, multiply by 5. 50,000 employee is eligible for the coverage. If any risk happen to the employee will get this much amount. So if you see, there is certain amount at the end we are seeing calculated amount, but source is what? Source is base pay, where we are confident the base pay in the core
And the
compensation.
job data, employee job data.
Exactly, right. Recruitment, how recruitment required compensation data? Any example?
The recruitment have that what is the position level salary structure,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Offer
what
letter
they
we
have,
have salary structure.
package, what they offer in the package. This is the
Exactly. So whenever you're giving an offer letter, you have to bring the components into the offer letter, right? And also you have to discuss, well, hey, this is what we are going to give for you, this position. Negotiations also will happen on that. Not only that, joining bonus, right?
yes.
Referral bonus.
Sign-on bonus, yeah. Relocation bonus, office setup. Nowadays for new joinees, HR is giving this amount. These are all required from compensation. So we have to configure plans from compensation. Recruitment team will pull out these plans and assign. Performance, any examples here? How performance
Is
module?
it the
It
job
Annual
based on merit level performance? It's called merit reviews and goals.
salary based on the merit, employee will get bonus.
And promotion and the promotion.
Exactly, promotions. So it depends on the performance. So finally, if you see, payroll module is required compensation data, benefits model required compensation data, even recruitment performance also required compensation data. This is what a huge dependency on core compensation. Okay, right. These are all modules. So whenever you are configuring a compensation plan, whenever you're doing a compensation plan changes, remember we need to connect with these two. These are all streams also. Compensation role is really a critical role. Okay, so you have to lead all these team members also. If you're creating new allowance plan, you have to integrate with the payroll system, right? You have to integrate with the payroll system. So you have to inform the payroll team, hey, this is the requirement is coming in, you require to get an earning for this. If it is a ADP payroll processor, we have to inform the integration team, hey, create a earning code for this compensation. So we have to communicate and coordinate with this module leads also. Okay, let's see what is core compensation, what components we have first. So consider this just a descriptive overview, and just here we will introduce ourselves to the terminologies and processes. Configurations will start in the next session. Core compensation, we have several components are available under core compensation. Let me list out all the components, then we'll discuss in detail each component. Compensation grade, compensation grade profile, salary plan, hourly plan, some space for each component. Spreadsheet was the right one, that's fine. Hourly plan, allowance plans, something like amount based allowance, unit percentage based allowance,
Percentage.
yeah, unit based allowance, and then period salary plan, unit salary plan, one-time payments, and then amount based calculated plan or future plan, compensation elements, compensation element groups, compensation package. Okay, of course there are check boxes, etc., etc. We will discuss those also in detail. Okay, so let's talk about overview of each component and what is the scenarios, what is the purpose we will use this compensation component. Okay, right. First thing, compensation grade. Compensation grade defines the pay ranges. Compensation grade defines minimum and maximum pay ranges. For example, let's say there will be a budget. For example, I want to hire a manager. I might have some budget. Minimum I can offer 1 lakh US dollars to maximum 2 lakh US dollars rupees, sorry, US dollars per annum. So this minimum, maximum, mid-range. How much minimum I can offer? What is the maximum amount I can offer? Considering the employee experience, demand of the role, employee skill set, several other factors. Considering all the factors, so minimum or maximum we will give. These pay ranges we will define on compensation grade. These pay ranges we will define on the compensation grade. Okay. So, of course, there are other things like standard base pay, etc. We will discuss when it comes in the plan. Compensation grade profile also similar to the compensation grade. Here also we are going to define the minimum and maximum pay ranges, but it helps us to define localization. For example, we are implementing compensation for USA, India, UK. What are the differences in terms of compensation in these three countries? Anyone? If you're implementing for these three countries, what are the common differences?
The
Australia
currency
is
conversions.
Currency
Conversions and the local
conversion,
currency rate.
right? And amounts also. In India, if you say 20 lakhs, and in USA, if you say 20 lakh US dollar, there's a huge difference. Numbers also, correct? Amounts, currencies, frequencies might be different for each country. What Workday recommends, if you're implementing for more than one country, you can go with compensation grade profile to define the localization. If you're implementing only in one country, you can go with compensation grade. But remember a point, if you would like to create a compensation grade profile, you must navigate from the compensation grade, because compensation grade profile associated with the compensation grade. You cannot create compensation grade profile separately. You have to create through the compensation grade. Little tricky part, during class I will explain in detail. For now, understand compensation grade we will use to define the minimum and maximum pay ranges. Compensation grade profile we will use to define the localization. Okay. Salary plan. Salary plan is nothing but a base pay, standard base pay. One thing we have to remember, an interview question. In salary plan, we are not going to maintain amount, currency, frequency. We are not going to maintain amount, currency, frequency. Okay. So because amount you have to enter manually at the time of hiring of the employee, currency frequency will be defaulted either from the grade or grade profile based on how we have configured. Right? So remember, again, I'm repeating, amount, currency, frequency, we are not maintaining on the plan level. It should default from the compensation grade or grade profile. Okay. Now, right. In the salary plan, so as I mentioned, we'll just give the eligibility rule. We don't maintain any amount. We have to enter at the time of hiring of the employee. Hourly plan. In some countries, we have hourly wage employees. We have a contingent employees who prefer to work on hourly basis. The number of hours they will work, the number of rate amounts they will get. For example, an employee who's ever worked on Workday payroll will get $100 per hour. Okay, if the employee work 8 hours, the employee will get $800. So you are paying here based on number of hours the employee has worked. If you have that concept, you can choose hourly plan as well. Okay, and then allowance plans, we have 3 types of allowance plans we have. Amount based, percentage based, unit based. Amount based means a fixed amount. An executive member eligible for car allowance of $1,000. $1,000 is a fixed amount. An executive member eligible for mobile allowance of $200. Here, the amount is fixed amount. If that is a requirement, you can go with amount based plan. Percentage based plan means calculated. Okay, calculated. So this percentage will be calculated on the base pay, total base pay, or total cost to company. It is up to the customer requirement. For example, if you see in India, housing allowance will be calculated on the base pay. Right? If it is a metro, 50%, non-metro, 40%. Right? If the employee is base pay 1 lakh per month, if the employee working in Mumbai location, 50,000 is the employee housing allowance. From where this 50,000 is calculating, 50% we have to calculate it on the base pay. Okay, if you have such requirements, go with the percentage based plan. Okay, and then unit based plan. This is I have not created for any customer so far, but I'm sure going forward this plans going to play a key role, because we are seeing most of the companies like Amazon, Flipkart, ShopClues, or even food delivery industries, Zomato, Swiggy, or even Ola, Uber, the cab companies. So for them, is a very suitable plan. Let's see an example. Amazon wants to give certain allowance for their delivery executives. Amazon wants to give certain allowance to the delivery executive. The allowance is, if any delivery executive deliver 1 box, they want to pay $1. If the delivery executive deliver 100 boxes, they want to pay $100. If the delivery executive delivered 500 boxes, the company wants to pay $500. Here, the incentive, the allowance is calculating based on the units. Unit is nothing but box. Okay. Another example. Let's say Uber, okay, cab company. So the Uber wants to give, apart from the regular wage, Uber wants to pay their employees allowance based on the number of trips they made. If any cab driver make 50 trips, okay, 50 is the reason number, let's say 20 trips in a day, employee will get $20 as allowance on the same day. If any Uber driver makes 30 trips in a day, $30 employee will get. How that 30 or $20 are calculating based on the number of trips. Trips is nothing but unit. Another example, Zomato. Zomato also wants to give the delivery executives, if they deliver the food packets, based on number of food packets, they want to give certain allowance. Here, food packet is nothing but unit. Okay, if you have such plans,
normally this will be configured in the sales departments.
Exactly, sir. This is a dependency.
Unit-based allowances are for the sales department employees. They configure.
Correct. And
performance.
Yeah. And one point I would like to highlight. Thanks for bringing that, sir. Highlighting point.
Yeah.
Remember, you cannot track the number of units made by the employee in Workday. You are just saying for 1 box, $1. That's it. How many boxes the employee is achieving every day, Workday doesn't have an ability to track those numbers. Here we need some sales system. That system will track the numbers. Here you are just saying this is the amount you will get. Then after, we have to send the number of units employee achieved plus the unit value to the payroll system to process the payroll. So we need 3 applications in order to process unit based. Okay. Again, I'm repeating, Workday doesn't have an ability to track the number of units employee achieved on a daily basis. Okay, right. And then period salary plan. We can also call it as 13th month salary, 14th month salary. In some countries, especially in European and South American countries like Ecuador, Argentina, or even European countries like Germany or Belgium or Netherlands, in Asia, Singapore, Philippines, they have this concept. Even Dubai, I heard. So they have the concept, something like if any employee works 1 year with the company, employee should get 1 month of salary as the bonus. Apart from the performance bonus, the company performance bonus, those are different. If for example, my salary is 1 lakh per month, I work for 12 months. I will get 1 month of salary as a bonus after my 12 months continuation. So that is nothing but 13th month salary. Additionally, 1 month salary employee is getting, we will call it as 13th month salary. If the employee get 2 months of salary, then we will call it as 14th month salary. That plan we can configure under period salary plan. And this plan is not mandatory for all the customers. It's in the country. Yes, ma'am.
For Brazil, they have 14th month.
Oh, Brazil, it's 14th month. Okay, okay. Right. So what we have to do is we have to see what is the employee compensation on that 2 times 2 months of salary. Workday will calculate that amount. You have to just enter the 12 months, 1 month or 2 months of salary were calculated. We will see how to configure on the script. Don't worry. We will familiar with these terms. And then unit salary plan. Again, I have never seen a customer who asks in the requirement to include this plan, but let me explain what it is. Take the same example, Amazon. So Amazon has a concept, or let's say Uber or Ola cab. So that's it. If you say Ola, most of the cab drivers are partners, right? Most of the cab drivers are partners, not Ola Ola not own the cars. Okay, if any person has a car and the person is interested to provide services for Ola, he can become a partner with Ola. Now, how the employee will get salary? Is there any fixed amount for that? No. The number of trips the employee has made at the end, 15 days per month, based on the number of trips the employee will get the salary. There is no fixed month here. If the employee is not well, he can take off. So if you can take off, you don't get salary for the day, right? If you have such requirements, go with unit salary plan. Remember, no fixed pay. The number of units you achieved, the number of trips you made, you will get the salary that much. Very similar to the unit allowance. In fact, when you're configuring the plan also, it's quite same. There's no big difference. Okay. And then one-time payments, joining bonus, sign-on bonus, relocation bonus. Some companies will provide to their employees exam bonus. Those falls under one-time payment, once a while. Ad hoc payments, relocation. Nowadays, companies are giving office setup allowances. This falls under one-time payment. We have 2 types of one-time payments: percentage, amount based. Both we will discuss in our session. And then calculated plans. Calculated plans, and again, this also not to any customer, but Workday has been provided 2 years back. It is available in Workday application. If you want to give seniority allowance, okay, some of the employees very loyal to the company, they're working more than 5 years with the company. Company decided to pay some amount or to retain the employees. The company decided if any employee completes 5 years of service, employee will get $5,000 as a 5,000 US dollars. If any employee completes 7 years of service, employee will get $7,000 US. Any employee completes 10 years of service, employee will get $10,000 US. Here, based on their years of service, so we are going to process at an amount. So those falls under calculated plans. This plan is quite opposite and different to all the plans whatever so far we discussed. When we're configuring, I will explain in detail. And then compensation element. Compensation element, in compensation is just a reference. I am creating a car allowance, then I need to create a compensation element called car allowance. I am creating a base pay. I need to create a compensation element called base pay. I am getting a mobile allowance. I will create a compensation element called mobile allowance. This is the mandatory field in the allowance plans. And we have to map this element to our plan. Why? Because this element is going to act as a bridge between the compensation and the payroll. Between the compensation and payroll, it acts as a bridge between. Because this compensation element, whatever you assign under compensation plan, let's say I'm getting car allowance, I will assign this compensation element under car allowance. And then this element I will group with the earning. So when I run the payroll, the amount will be pulled into the payroll calculation engine with the help of this compensation element. For now, remember, compensation element acts as a bridge between compensation and the payroll system. Okay. And then compensation element groups. Grouping multiple compensation elements for certain calculations. For example, I said life insurance. So same example, let's say. Here I said, he said coverage equal to base pay multiplied by 5 times. Let's say customer has a requirement, coverage equal to base pay plus car allowance multiplied by 5 times. Here you are grouping two compensation elements, which is called base pay plus car allowance. You are grouping into compensation element group. For example, base pay is $10,000, car allowance is $2,000. You are doing accumulating addition 12,000 multiplied by 5. If you have such requirements, then you need to create compensation element groups. Okay. And then compensation package, it's an umbrella kind of structure. So far what we configured, all the plans we need to include under compensation package. Why? To default the compensation at the time of staffing event like hire, promotion, relocation, demotion, any data changes. If you want to default the compensation, then you need to group all these plans into one compensation package, one of the mandatory component. Okay. Any questions so far in the overview? I hope it's not sounds like a Korean movie. So don't worry, we are going to configure each and every plan whatever I discussed. Okay. Still any examples or any questions, let me know. I can help.
Regarding this default thing, you said like while doing, you will explain it.
Of course, we're going to test it as well. Yeah. So it should be default or it should be available for the right person to assign. An example I will say. Oh yeah, the most important one I'm missing. That's what is the seventh element? This is the first topic, in fact. So whenever we're creating a plans, right, we have to define some eligibility. Executive member eligible for car allowance, management, non-management not eligible for car allowance. So we require to group them all the executives into one. The best example, job family or job family. So if you're hiring an executive member, this compensation package should be default. Based on that, grade plans will be default. I will show on the tenant. Okay. Eligibility rules are nothing but identifying the right employee for right compensation. If I'm creating eligibility rule car allowance for executive group, which means if I'm hiring an executive member, the car allowance must be available or it should be default. If I'm hiring a management or non-management member, the car allowance plan should not be available nor default. That we can control through this compensation eligibility rules. Okay. And then advanced compensation. So advanced compensation, we're not going to discuss because it's a completely an advanced chapter. So, but what I will do is, I will provide recordings, a 5 hours recording on this. But core compensation, we are doing a complete deep dive in the topic. Advanced compensation is optional. In which scenarios it is required? If the company is offering stock plans to their employees, stock options, right? Or if the company has merit process, which means they have talent and performance, they want to process the merit, then you need advanced compensation. If the company wants to pay bonus, yearly bonus based on employee performance or based on employee company performance or both factors, then they need bonus. Comp basis is nothing but grouping multiple compensation plans for an estimated calculation. These things I will provide recordings. You can view the recordings later. To give an overview, stock plans are nothing but some companies to retain their employees, to make them, to feel them they are also partner of the employees. Some stocks company will give. Most we will see for super performers, super employee, or for executive members. Okay, the number of years stay with the company, the stock also may be increased, depends on the market, depends on the performance of the company, and you will get some good lump sum amount. Merit is nothing but based on employee ratings at year end, employee will get salary hikes. Some examples I will explain during salary plan. Bonus means the yearly employee may get bonus based on the company performance, individual performance, or both. Okay, so this I will provide recordings on this area. Any questions so far on these topics before we are moving on to the business process?
Sir, what is
Okay,
compensation element?
right, sir. Compensation element acts as a bridge between compensation and payroll, sir. For example, I have created a car allowance in compensation. This, okay, in this car allowance, I will assign compensation element. In this compensation element, I will assign to earning, which is part of payroll. When I run the payroll here, this compensation element will fetch the car allowance amount into payroll calculation engine and it will process. For now, sir,
Basically, it is called earning codes.
yes, sir, because the word I don't want to use, I agree with the code
Okay.
concept, because in integration now we have ADP codes, so it leads little confusing. But
Okay.
yes, it's part
Yeah,
of,
carry on.
yeah, it's part of grouping. But I will show on the screen, sir. Okay. For now, remember
Yeah, thank
element.
you.
No problem. Element is nothing but a reference. Okay, it's a reference of the plan. Okay, so we have to configure all these in the tenant. Don't worry. Then, yeah, let's move on. Compensation specific business processes, most interesting and important, especially for interviews. Again, we are going to initiate all these in our during our class. Okay, before that, please help me. Few questions I will ask. Okay, it helps us to analyze the requirements also. Let's say an employee. Okay, we have an employee. What are all the scenarios we will assign compensation? We'll remove the compensation. We'll increase the salary. We'll reduce the salary. We'll give certain allowance on ad hoc basis. Right? Can you give me some scenarios?
New hire.
New hire, correct? During new hire, mandatory we are assign the compensation. Okay.
Promotions?
During promotion, demotions, relocation, we have to give the compensation. Okay. Promotion, relocation, or transfer. Even demotion also have an impact on the compensation. What else?
International assignments.
Good one. International assignments, ad hoc basis. Okay. ISA. Okay. Now let's see what BPs we have. One of our friends said new hire. Correct. When you're hiring an employee, we'll assign the compensation. That BP we will call it as proposed compensation hire. Another friend said during promotion, relocation, transfer, demotion also, there's an impact on compensation. Correct. That business process name is called proposed compensation change. Another friend said there's an impact on an employee if you're moving that employee to ISA. Some ad hoc allowance we may have to give, some additional amount we have to give. That is called request compensation change. Request compensation default to position, request one-time payment. This business process plays a key role in Workday. We have few more, but we will discuss about those, don't worry. But these 5 will play a key role. Proposed compensation hire is it will be triggered if you're hiring an employee, first time you're hiring an employee and you would like to assign a compensation. This business process will be triggered. With the help of this business process, you can assign compensation to an employee. If you're promoting, relocating, transferring an employee, it will impact the employee compensation. So this business process will let you allow to do certain changes for employee compensation. Request compensation change is a very powerful business process. Why I'm saying very powerful is ad hoc. Ad hoc. Okay. For instance, let's say an employee is a key resource. An employee is key resource. He's a backbone to the project. And the project is in mid of the pace. That employee has a new offer, almost 30% of the hike of his current position. And he is trying to resign for his job because he got a good opportunity, good hike. Now, company knows his caliber and they need the resource at any cost. What the manager HR partner will do with that employee?
Yeah, to retain the employee to match the package.
Exactly. They will retain the employee to match the package. Now see different managers talks. One manager said, hey, you please be continuing the position, take your resignation back. From October onwards, I will give the hike amount. So wait for 5 more months, I'll give promotion. He didn't agree. I don't want to wait for 5 more months. I'm not sure whether he will give or not. It happens, right? Even if you can send a mail by CCHR, it may not happen. I don't want to stay. Another manager said, another manager said, this month itself, I'm giving the same hike for you. You no need to wait for 5 months. I will compensate your package with this current month itself. This is called ad hoc, on demand, right? If you have such requirements, then this business process will help. You can assign a compensation plan, you can remove a compensation plan, you can change a currency, you can you can change the frequency, you can do anything compensation related changes on an ad hoc basis. One more challenge with this plan is, this business process is, you can assign a plan though the employee is not eligible. Okay, the employee is not eligible based on the configuration, you can still override it with the help of this request compensation change, a very powerful task. Most often, the compensation partner, compensation team will use this task. Okay, right. And request compensation default to position. Excuse me. Sometimes customer may want to assign compensation to a position. Remember, not to worker, to a position. So you will assign compensation to a position. and then you will hire an employee into the position. Automatically, the employee will get the same compensation from whatever you assigned at position, or the compensation will be inherited to from the position to worker. If the customer wants that scenario, you can go with this option. So remember, these are all worker related. You cannot do for open positions. Only this business process which let you allow to assign compensation to an open position, to remove compensation to an open position. Okay. Request one-time payment ad hoc. Again, retention bonus. The same scenario. Employee is leaving, company wants to give a 10 lakh rupees in one go to retain that employee. You can use request one-time payment. Office allowance. So these are all falls under. If you're assigning any one-time payments, you can go with this option. Okay. Okay. One question I will ask. Last question. This might be interview question, that's why I'm stretching here. Let's say I have a position called manager, open position called manager. In this position, I have assigned my compensation. I have assigned salary. I have assigned car allowance. And I have assigned car allowance. In this position, I hired an employee called Mr. John. I hired an employee called Mr. John. Automatically, whatever the amount I have assigned salary car will be associated with Mr. John. Later, I terminated Mr. John. In this scenario, though you terminated employee, separated the employee, compensation is still associated with the position. And whenever you hire a new employee called Mr. XYZ, the same employee will get the same compensation. Remember, you can assign to worker, you can assign to position. The advantage is if you assign to position it's a one-time configuration. The employee is terminated, employee is moved away from the position due to promotion transfer, compensation is still associated with the position. Whosoever again hiring into the position, they will get the same compensation. Any questions on the business processes? Again, I'm repeating, we are going to discuss, excuse me, we are going to discuss everything so far what we covered today in our regular session. Okay. Any questions, anyone on this document, what we discussed today? Okay, maybe once you start configurations, you may have questions, that's fine. Now let's talk about weekend schedule. So at what time we'll have the session, morning or evening? Which one is feasible for you all?
Yeah, evening should be fine. Same at 7 p.m. the same.
Absolutely, this time also works. Can we have a session on the same time, 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Kiran, is this
Yeah,
for tomorrow?
that's fine.
Like
Yeah.
weekend, Saturday, Sundays, or?
But is it, what weekend is it? This weekend or next weekend?
This weekend, ma'am, coming Sunday, day after tomorrow.
Oh, the afternoon. That's fine. Absolutely no problem.
So tomorrow we don't have a class.
Tomorrow we don't have a class, sir, because we don't have a 10.
Sunday. It is on
Yeah,
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, if anyone from US or Canada or some country, for you it might be Sunday morning. Anyone from India, it will be Sunday evening. I will ask him to send the proper. Yeah, 7 p.m. same time, 7 p.m. IST will connect. And one request is, if you have any schedules during weekend, please don't do compromise. Please continue. This we have a recording, so your recording will be shared. Though if I gave a recording, if you have still any questions, I'm happy to spend additional time, but please don't compromise on this weekend, because I'm not available for 3 days. That's why I'm scheduling one class, so that by the time when I go on leave, I will give some good amount of time for your practice. That's my plan. Yeah.
Okay, and when you have a plan?
Sir, next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday.
Okay, next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday following Monday.
Yes, sir. Actually, I will try to. Problem is not sure whether network is there. and it's a kind of a marriage function. If I still have a plan a session,
Okay. Okay. Understand. So maybe we can also plan something.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, more details we'll discuss on our next session then on Sunday 7 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't want to hold you more time, guys. Please take care.
Thank you.
Good
You
day.
too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.